Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
See,
let's see
what's
what.
the Hebrew that we're starting with?
Vatira be'emet, I think.
Yeah, we're on page 11. Vatira be'emet. Shekvar lo yochal shum ba'al sechel amin. So it's on chapter Perek Aleph, chapter 1, and it's like
Found it.
found it. Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to fix my screen here that you could see me. Not that it makes a difference, but whatever. Okay. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, so let's just recap quickly what we did, where we're holding up to. So we're holding up to the Mesilat Yesharim, explaining that a person is created in this world for the purpose of the next world, and the effort you put here in this world will achieve for you in the next world. And we mentioned that really that's not really a big insight, because to be honest, most things in this world require that. Most things in this world require a person's effort, and you see the product of the what's it called, the fruits only later in everything in life. If it's in studying in uni, if it's trying to make, a business example, when a business starts, I once heard from a non-successful businessman, no, just kidding, from a successful businessman, that he said that it takes 2 years before you start seeing any benefits from your business. Like for a business to be successful, it does not happen within the beginning. It takes quite a bit of time, right? It would take 2 years before a business starts making money. So the same goes to everything in life, really. Effort is not, you do not see the fruits of effort so quickly. It takes time. So too, this whole world is a world where we invest in this world for the sake of the world to come. Okay.
Okay. Therefore, you will surely understand that no intelligent person could believe that the purpose of man's creation relates to his position in this world. But what significance is there to man's life in this world? And is there anyone truly happy or at peace in this world? The days of our years among them are 70 years, and with strength 80 years, and at their apex, they are filled with toil and anguish. How many different forms of anguish and sicknesses and pains and burdens there are, and after experiencing these, there's death. 1 in 1,000 cannot be found for whom the world will abound with pleasures and true peacefulness. And even such a one, if he lives to be 100, he is as good as departed and gone from this world.
Okay, so this is a very harsh part, but a very real reality that the Mesilat Yesharim is pointing out. He's saying anyone that has a little bit of a brain inside his head will understand that you weren't created in this world just for pleasure. Believe it or not, it does not make sense. I always say to people, if God created this world for pleasure, he's done a horrible job. Because there's so many things that people have to go through in this world. People go through so much, and there's so many sad stories, and there's so many, people are suffering financially, and people are suffering mentally, and people are suffering, divorce, and people are trying to find a shidduch, and there's so many tears, so many people going through things in life that it's not really, if it's for pleasure, it's not such a great job. Not such a great job, right? So he says, therefore, anyone that has a little bit of a brain understands that a person was not created for the purpose of this world. And even if you have a comfortable life here, how long does one live? 70. Oh, he was 70. Okay, he didn't die young. He was 70 already, right? No, he's 80. We say, okay, 80 is already pretty good life. 80 years is a joke. It's a joke. It's no time. 80 years is nothing. As you all aware, as you're getting older, that every year in your life starts becoming much faster. When you turn around to 80-year-old, He barely felt that they lived. And even if they live till 100, a 100-year-old man really is not giving so much to the world anymore. He's kind of sitting in his chair and just sitting there and whatever. So even if he had a pleasant life and he lived a comfortable life for 100 years, even after that, it's as if he doesn't exist anymore. His grandchildren will go and visit him, maybe. I was speaking once to Milton Levine, and he said to me, it's quite interesting that when a person passed, he was thinking about his life. He's one of the donors to Orsim. He kind of started it here in Australia. And he said to me that, when a person passes away, so the kids come to the grave. They come on the yard side and whatever. The grandkids, how often do they come? Once in a while. The great grandkids never go there, right? Anyone here been to the grave of their great grandparents? I mean, maybe you went once or twice, maybe. And they're buried. You do know even if they're buried in Australia? I don't know. Buried in South. Where they're buried? I don't know where my great grandparents are buried. I know where my grandparents are buried. I mean, they're buried in America. My great grandparents, I don't know. Probably in America, but I'm not even sure where. Let alone, do you know even their names? Try to think about that. Do you know your great grandparents' names? Gabi does not know. Sean, do you know your great?
I know a couple. Like a lot of them had the same name, I think.
Okay, you think, right?
There was like 3 of them that had the same name.
Okay, and right, so it's Shuri. Do you know the name of your grandparents? Great grandparents. Sorry.
That
one.
refuah.
What?
Ever done a refuah for your great grandparents? I mean, your grandparents. Then them.
Right. Okay. Very good. That's the Hebrew name. What about the English name? Right. So you're right. That's one way of knowing it. And the only reason I know it is because I'm davening for my grandfather, and therefore I know his father's name, or his mother's name. Right. It's quite a wild thought to have if you think about that. That is not that long after a person is completely forgotten from this world, let alone while they're alive and they reach that age, they're already not that relevant anymore. So the Mesilat Yesharim is saying here, really, we have to think carefully and think to ourselves, a person is created in this world. There's no way you were created just to go dance in some music festival. There's no way. It cannot be. It just, something has to be missing up here to think like that, right? That's what he's saying. That's pretty much what he's saying. Any Baal Seichel, you have to be intellectually honest with yourself. But if you are intellectually honest, I mean, yeah, thank God we have good lives. Thank God we're living very comfortably and we live in good countries. But there's issues. There's things going wrong. People lose things, We should never experience sorrow. But there is out there plenty of suffering. So it does not make sense that the world was created for that purpose. Rather, it must be that the purpose is for something greater than that, and not just for this world. Okay, Veloyod, furthermore,
if the purpose of man's creation was linked to this world, there would have been no need to provide him with a soul so venerable and so exalted that it overshadowed the angels themselves. And surely the soul does not derive any satisfaction from worldly pleasures.
Okay, so he's saying furthermore, in every human there's a soul. Now, let me ask you an interesting question. Who do you think has a better life? A dog? Let's say you're a dog, or a human? What do you think? A dog doesn't have to be worried. Is the dog concerned now about the corona? Did your dog need therapy for the corona business? No, he's calm. He's relaxed. Doesn't mind. Does he have jealousy? Maybe a little bit when you give a little bit of attention to someone else and he comes and tries and get it, right? That's basically it, right? He doesn't have so much. Does he have worries of money? Does he have to work hard in school? Right? He gets looked after. Think about it. A dog, an animal usually is a million times. He wiggles his tail when you walk in the door. He's always happy, woo, excited, right? He came home, right? That's how it works. I grew up with dogs. You see that? I'm not as religious as I look, huh? No, I don't know anything about dogs. Anyhow, but when you have a dog, it's obviously enjoyable to have to be a dog. His food is provided for him. He doesn't have to look for it. The haircut, I have to go get a haircut. I have to go to somewhere. The dogs, the guys giving the haircuts come around. You ever seen that? They come around to give the haircuts. Anyways, so the dog always gets driven. He has a chauffeur taking him wherever he needs to go. He doesn't mind which car he's being driven in, you know. The dog can eat anything he does. He's not spoiled about which food he has. He doesn't mind really. I mean, he can get a little bit spoiled about that, but he doesn't really care. He doesn't fight. He doesn't have a mother-in-law. He doesn't have to deal with, right? Cousins, relatives, brother, sisters. If someone dies, okay, you know, he kind of moves on, right? An animal enjoys this world more than a human does. That's my thought. The only reason we are different is because we have a soul. So he says the Mesilat does not make sense that you will put into your soul a neshama, something more intellectual. He calls it the neshama sichlis. In the Derech Hashem, he refers to our soul as the intellectual soul. I think that's the best definition I've heard about the neshama, intellectual soul, because that means all our thinking and our feelings, and that's all part of the neshama. And that's what he's saying. He's saying it does not make sense that you were a neshama was put into you more than the angels. We have a greater neshama than the angels because our neshama is a part of God. So we have a greater neshama than the angels. And it does not make sense it was put into us just to enjoy this world. Because if it was, then take it out and we'll enjoy ourselves much more. And furthermore, the neshama does not get pleasures from this world. When one does an aveira, he does something wrong, he offends someone, even though at the time he really felt that that's a great joke to make and insult the guy. After you walk home and your heart is kind of hurting, you feel bad. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. What is that? That's the neshama. The neshama has no pleasure out of physical things in this world. So there's no point for that neshama being in the body if the world was here just for pleasure. So he's making another point about why it does not make sense that this world was a world that's created for the sake of pleasure. Make sense? Okay, let's keep going.
This is what they of blessed memory have taught us in Midrash Koheleth. And even the soul will not be satisfied. This recalls a parable about an ordinary townsman who marries the king's daughter. Anything that he brings her from this world is of no significance to her, since she is the daughter of the king. And likewise the soul. If one brings all the delights of this world, these mean nothing to it. Why? Because the soul derives from above. And so did our rabbis of blessed memory say, against your will you are created, and against your will you are born. For the soul has no love for this world at all, but rather despises it. And since this is the case, the blessed Creator would surely not have created something that conflicted with the soul's nature and was repellent to it. Therefore,
okay, so he's giving a parable. He's saying a daughter of a queen. She goes and she marries, a daughter of a queen goes and marries some guy from the village, right? And the guy from the village is trying to give her things. There's no real, what can you offer? You have nothing to offer. What, are you going to give her to ride on the donkey you've got? She's been riding on horses, beautiful horses. What are you going to give her? You're going to give her a nice jewelry that's worth $10, $20. She's got beautiful diamonds and jewelry. What can you give her? Make her a meal? She has gourmet meals every day. She's the daughter of the king, right? So she has everything. So what can you offer to such a person? You can't really offer them anything. Right? Same to the neshama. The neshama comes from a godly place. And we bring it to the physical world and you say, oh yeah, let's give you something enjoyable. It doesn't really talk to the neshama. It doesn't really talk to the neshama. When a person is I'll give you a simple example for that is when you're on a high, and I don't mean from substance, when you are on a high because because you're doing the right thing for a while already. You're doing good things and you're feeling productive and you're doing well. And someone comes to you and says, let's get drunk tonight. Let's get trashed. Go to some stupid party and really, drink like crazy, and we'll go wild and we'll listen to loud music. It doesn't really tempt you because it's so irrelevant to where you are in life. You're doing so well. You're feeling so good about yourself. You're so productive that doesn't even talk to you. It talks to us when we're down, when we're doing nothing, when we're sitting around, right? But when you start feeling your neshama act in action, and that's when you're learning and you're growing and you're productive and you really in a meaningful relationship, let's say, and you're studying well, whatever it is, someone comes and offers that, your neshama is booming, your neshama is in enjoying itself, and you offer something like that, it doesn't really talk to it. Don't get me wrong. I still, let's say when I'm sitting and learning and someone offers me, come play soccer, of course there's a desire to go out and play. But when someone offers you something low, something that's not a something that's going to be, but something low, then that doesn't really talk to a person that's in a world of spirituality. One more example for that, perhaps that will work, is imagine I don't know, if someone came up to me today and says to me, come watch a UFC fight, cage fighting, the violent fighting that exists, $1 billion industry. Someone offers me to come watch that. I just don't see the pleasure in that. Yet some people are loving that. The screaming, the shouting, they'll pay for tickets to go to such a game. They will scream and shout when the game is happening. I find it disgusting. And I find it like repulsive. I'm not interested in that. And I think part of that is because where a person is holding a life. So the neshama, you can't offer it anything in this world. The physical stuff doesn't really talk to the neshama. It's not really relevant to the neshama. That's the idea he's saying here. It's like that thought of the king. And therefore, for sure, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't create a world, neshama, to come into a place where it doesn't really derive any pleasure from it. Therefore, what?
Therefore, the creation of man is wholly linked to his place in the world to come. And for this purpose, he was given this soul. He will serve the eternal for the soul's sake, and through it, he will receive his reward at the appropriate place and time. In this manner, instead of his soul despising this world, it will love and desire it. This is self-evident.
Right. So that's saying. So therefore, must be that the neshama is given to us, and that's who we are. Is for us to serve Hashem with it. And an example, we just spoke about the dog. The dog doesn't have a neshama, so the dog cannot really serve God. There is such a concept called the shira of every animal, that every animal praises God, but they don't really serve God. There's no such thing as serving God for the animal. Why? Because he doesn't have a neshama. So now it makes sense. If we say the neshama is put into us, and this whole purpose of the world is to serve God, then it makes sense that we've given such a beautiful thing called our neshama, which is us. And we have that, and with that we can achieve things and we can serve Hashem. And if we pay attention to that, we will enjoy this world. We will love this world, because we'll see this world as a world with so much opportunity and so much things that we can do here. And even when a challenge comes our way, yes, we'll cry under a circumstance of someone, that something happens, or the coronavirus will put us in a challenge of being at home. But then if we use it productively and we spend more time with our family and we realize that we can focus on learning more, or we can do other things, and we're not going to get sidetracked, then we're going to start loving it. As Gabi told me in the beginning of this year, she's loving it. Why? Because she's making it into productivity. So the neshama loves this world when the world is used for what it's meant to be used. But the neshama despises and dislikes this world when the world is being used for the purpose that it's not meant to be used. And that's why we have that neshama within us. That's the idea. Yeah? Make sense? Oops. Sorry. Yeah, back on. Make sense, Sean?
Makes sense.
Okay. Let's continue one more paragraph and we'll end with this.
Okay.
By the way, if anyone has questions, just jump in, yeah?
Okay. Once we know this, we will immediately understand the gravity of fulfilling the mitzvot and the value of the divine service placed in our hands. These are the means that will bring us to real perfection, for it cannot be attained without them. However, it is known that a goal can be achieved only to the degree that one consolidates all the means at one's disposal, and that we utilize for its attainment.
Okay, so he's saying it like this. He's saying that you have to understand that the mitzvahs, you'll understand the severity of the mitzvahs and why is it so important and why there's so many details involved in it. As they say as a joke, to say if Jews would have Christmas, God forbid, yeah, they would have this, the tree would have measures. You can't just bring in any tree to your house. It has to be a particular size. According to Beis Shammai, it could be 2 meters. According to Beis Hillel, it has to be 1.5 meters. And how many things can be hung on that tree? Well, depends. Depends who you hold by. If you hold by the Shulchan Aruch, if you're Sephardi, then you could put 6 or 7. But if you're Ashkenazi, you only could put 2, right? That's would be that you would have so many halachas. Now the question is why? Why is there so many details in mitzvahs? Why do we make mitzvahs so, Seder night, when to hold the cup, when to put it down, what matzah, how much matzah, how quick we have to eat it, we have to drink the 4 cups, you have to make sure they're wine, yeah, they have to be red. Why is there so many details in the mitzvahs? And this is a fascinating idea. I think it's worthwhile waking up just for this one. So, the following. If you, did you ever see anyone build a house or hear about building a house or could imagine your head building your own house? Yeah, you could imagine that? Okay, so there's going to be very interesting differences between the man and the woman, according to my understanding of men and women, not according to the world's understanding. But according to my understanding of men and women, it's going to work as follows. The woman will sit there and the guy building the house will come, the builder will come in and he will say, okay, we can put the cupboards this color, or we can do them this color, or we can do them this color. And the lady is sitting there and she's looking different colors. And then she says, wait a second, let me see the color of the tiles. And she looks at the color of the tiles. And then she's dealing with that. And then there's the taps of the sinks and the taps of the sinks. And she asks, okay, which one is nicer? Which one is more thing? And that's the woman will be busy without that. And every detail and what type of wood. And why is she so focused on detail? Who cares? Just build a house. Why is she so focused on details? I'll tell you how the guy will react. Which one is cheaper? What's the cheapest? Well, our budget is already way above what it's meant to be. What's the cheapest thing to do, right? Why does he care less? Why is he not focused on detail? For the woman, it's for the lady of the house, it's very important. For the man of the house, money is more important to him. Each one is going to focus on what's more important to them. The more details in something, the more you recognize that it's important. I will not put focus on details on things that are not important to me. Things that are important to me, I want to know every detail about it, right? How do you see if a parent cares about his child or not? Does he know what's going on with his child? Is he involved in his child's life? What do you mean? Just say hello, good morning to your child, eat breakfast with him, talk to him about sports, and see you later. But that shows that he's not really involved in his child's life and doesn't really care. But when we start wanting to know details of someone's life, you ever went out to eat with someone or for coffee? Oh, by the way, Zoom on coffee, did you ever do that? Not yet, huh? Let's go out for coffee on Zoom. Okay, so you ever went out to coffee with someone? I heard students complain about this. Tell me if it works for you. You go out with someone and they don't ask you one question about yourself. They pretty much tell you all about themselves. They tell you, but talk to you about, and they don't turn around once and say, and how are you going? And then what's happening with you? And how are you feeling? Are you happy? They don't do, if someone does that, they care about me. If someone doesn't do that, don't really care about me. Why? Because if you're in detail, you want things in detail, it shows you care about the thing. It shows the thing is important. Says the Mesilat, after you understand what this world is, you understand why when it comes to the mitzvahs, are we focused on details? Because every mitzvah counts. And everything you do makes a difference because everything you do is important. You're not just a nobody. You are a person with an neshama, and every mitzvah you do means a lot. And therefore, we should be dancing. Every time we do a mitzvah, we should be happy. We should be excited. Thank God we did a mitzvah. We woke up this morning. We learned for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, because we did a mitzvah. This is unbelievable. This is something good. This is something important. If we understand it's important, we'll put more details into it. If we don't understand it's important, we won't put details into it. So that's the focus that we have to put into. Hopefully, we'll end with that. But just putting focus into details shows that it's important and shows that it means something. And it's not just a random customized thing that I do, but it's actually something I believe makes a difference and will have an effect on my life. That's the idea. Okay, shkoyach everybody. Any questions? No. Amazing. Shuri, no question?
No questions today, Raf.
Oh, okay.
It was great.
Everyone, it was great. Great meeting everyone. Adina, nice meeting you. Gabi, nice seeing you. All the best, Ricky.
Thanks, Rob.
Shkoyach, Raf.
All the best. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.